So hello guys, welcome back to my channel. So this is Nirbhay Singh, and in this session we gonna discuss about VPN. So our agenda will be like, initially we gonna cover about what is VPN, and secondly we will see the connection flow if we are not using VPN, and thirdly we will see working of VPN and connection flow while we are using VPN, and at last we will see some benefits and choosing a right VPN that I will let you know that how we can choose the right VPN. So without wasting any time, let's go to our first agenda. So a VPN basically it help us to create an secret tunnel between our device and our internet, and that tunnel help us to encrypt our data and make it invisible to hackers, snoopers, or even to our internet service providers, ISPs. Okay, so we will see that these things in action when we are going to our second agenda. Okay, so in agenda 2 we will see connection flow if we are not using any VPN. So as you can see on screen, I have created two case scenarios, and in both the case scenarios both the users are not using any VPN. So currently I am going with case 1 where user is not connected to any VPN. Okay, and currently that user is connected to its home Wi-Fi, or might be that user may be connected to any public Wi-Fi. Okay, and what that user want to access this xyz.com website. Okay, and you can see like I have mentioned an public IP over here. So from where you can get this public IP? Okay, so to get this public IP you can basically open your Chrome browser and search for what is my public IP, and you will get something like this public IP. So basically this is an IP that is assigned to your system. Okay, now the connection will flow something like from user system it will go to Wi-Fi, and through Wi-Fi it will go to ISP, and from ISP it will hit to this xyz.com. Okay, by what? By showing your public IP address. This IP will get mentioned here. Okay, similarly 102.83 dot something dot something. Okay, so might be that user will also try to input their credential, such as suppose this website was facebook.com. so might be that user will enter his credential, or might be that user may be making any UPI payments by using that public Wi-Fi. Okay, so currently I am just taking an example for case 1. Okay, and in case 2 again this user is not connected to any VPN, and that user wants to access a server by its public IP. Okay, and that server can be its office server or its company's server. Okay, and that user is again connected to any home Wi-Fi, or might be that user may be connected to any public Wi-Fi. Okay, so the connection will flow like, again this have some public IP. Okay, so it will flow from user system Wi-Fi, from Wi-Fi to ISP. Okay, and from ISP like connection will happen something like user want to access this public IP from its public IP. If the server was suppose Windows server, so it will try to access on port 3389, or if it was a Linux server it will try to access on port 22. Okay, so the traffic will hit on this server from this public IP. Okay, so at the end this public IP was visible on this server as well as where that website xyz.com is hosted. So in both the cases, as we can see, both the users might be connected to any public Wi-Fi. So it might happen a attacker may be sitting in between. Okay, so whenever this user is trying to do that request from his public IP to this xyz.com, and he was trying to enter some credential, if it was some facebook.com, or if he is trying to make any UPI payments, or the user 2 is trying to access this server by its public IP. So the attacker might spoof all the information like user 1 IP address, which server he is trying to, or which website he is trying to access. Also he can get that credentials, and in case 2 again that user's IP, and with which server the user is trying to connect on with port. So this kind of information that attacker might get, like a common example we can see, it might attack might happen, you may have heard about man in the middle attack. So these are some common attacks that might happen if you are using any public Wi-Fi's. Now to prevent that thing and to see VPNs in action, we will go to our next agenda 3. In this agenda 3, we will see working of VPN and connection flow when user is using VPN. So as you can see on screen, we have an user in which we have installed VPN client in its system. Okay, and that user is currently connected to its home Wi-Fi, or maybe the user may be connected to any public Wi-Fi. Okay, so currently we have denoted as a home network. Okay, and as you can see, like we have an public IP mentioned here. So what actually this public IP will be? So let's just go to our previous agenda 2 where we are not using any VPN. You can see we have got some public IP over here. Okay, and this public IP was actual public IP of that user system. Okay, but here it is not something like that. It is the public IP of that VPN client that we are using. Okay, so now the connection will flow something like this from VPN, like from VPN client or from user system through Wi-Fi, through ISP, and it will pass from a VPN tunnel, which will be a public network, we can say. Okay, and from VPN tunnel it will go to VPN server where this VPN client was like working or hosted, we can say. Okay, from that again I have taken the same examples as in our previous, like user was trying to access xyz.com, or user may be trying to access some their company's server. Okay, now again user is trying to access this xyz.com or company's server. Okay, and for this company server, that company server may be in its company's own network, and this has already hidden our public IP, as we can see here, replaced with VPN's IP. Let's back to our definition. As like we have mentioned, it creates a secret tunnel between our device and the internet, and that tunnel encrypts our data, make it invisible to hackers, snoopers, or even to our internet service providers. Okay, so basically this has created a tunnel between our system. Okay, this has created a tunnel between our system to that end destination server or website, and this tunnel has hidden many information about ourselves, like public IP as well as locations and many things, from even from our internet service providers or from anyone. Like it will be only between this user and this company server. And here also, like this xyz.com or company server with any IP will receive or will get a request from this public VPN IP only. Like from using this VPN, public IP, we can access this website, or suppose we are using company server where we have only whitelisted some our own, might be you may be using some VPN which has some specific public IP denoted to it, and that public IP you have whitelisted to our security group in our server. Okay, so by that way that user will be also able to access this company server. If it was Windows, then port 3389, and if it was Linux, then port 22. So by this way, like, whole VPN communication works. Now we will go to our next agenda, that is benefits and choosing right VPN. Okay, now if I talk about some of the benefits of using a VPN, so firstly it will help us to stay safe on public Wi-Fi. Like, if you are using and connected to any public Wi-Fi, and if you are not connected to any VPN, okay, so that public Wi-Fi may be railway stations Wi-Fi or any hotels. So then what will happen, that attackers will easily get your information, as they are mainly targeting open networks. Okay, so to prevent from that, you can use VPN, as we have seen in our previous agenda, like how this is preventing us from not basically from not disclosing our IPs and some various detail about ourselves. Okay, so, and second benefit can be access global content. So here, like, suppose in our country might be some portals might be blocked for you. Okay, so in that case, like, if you want to access that portals, okay, so you can just get an VPN and connect to different region where that portal is allowed. Okay, so by using that, you can access that portal. Maybe it can be of for any educational purpose, so you can easily get that portal. Okay, and thirdly, it protects your privacy. Like if you are not using VPN, like, your ISPs and advertiser tracks every moment when you are online. Okay, they can get your activity details, like your location, your current IPs, like to which server you are trying to access, and all things. Like, and by using a VPN, it helps us to maintain our data privacy and anonymity, which means, like, it helps to hide our IP, our location, and our some metadata. Okay, and our activity information. So these are like few of the some benefits of using VPN. There are many, but I have listed few among them. Okay, now if I tell about, like, choosing and right VPNs, so if you are going to use an VPN, so what features ideally one must should look. Okay, so that would, firstly, it will include, that VPN should have a strong encryption, so that it should protect your data. Okay, then it should have no log policy, which means, like, the VPN provider should not store your, like, access log, to which server you are doing what, to where you are doing what. Okay, so that logs, that VPN provider should not be storing. Okay, so that's this thing you should ensure about. Okay, now thirdly, you can get an VPN that are for global server, like to access the content worldwide. Like, it may also depend, if you are using any organization, some computer where you may be using some VPN. Okay, they are like personally configured for yourself. Okay, and in that scenario, that your company's admin might be limiting you to access to like limiting your access to certain website or to certain things only. Okay, so that might happen. Okay, and at the last but not least, it should have a reliable fast speed for smooth browsing and streaming. Okay, and few more things, like when you are going to get a VPN, one thing you can make sure, like, you should mostly get and opt for a paid VPN. Why I'm saying like that, like, if you go with a free VPN, there is no surety, like, it will not show your logs. Okay, it will have a strong encryption, that might not happen. Okay, whereas if you are going for a paid VPN, like, if I suggest about one or two names, like ExpressVPN or NordVPN. Okay, so they provide like no log policy, So this is all about working of VPN. If you find this video helpful, you can give a thumbs up to this video, and for similar kind of video you can subscribe to this channel, and if you have any doubts, do make sure to comment in the comment section. Till now, bye bye.